Welcome, ladies and gents, to the next edition of a Man in the Shed podcast. It is season 2, episode 5. My name is Kirk Ritchie, and I am the man in the shed. Massive thanks goes out to, as per normal, to the legend and the icon that is Tim Berrington from FCK Couture, who provides us with all of our garments. Big shout out to him, mate. I hope you're well. Big shout goes out to everyone who has missed me. I can only apologise for the length and the delay it has in me actually doing another podcast. The pure reason that I haven't been able to do one is that I've actually been really, really happy. And as I said in the last podcast that I did, that time has just run away with me, and I said that I was going to do it every Friday, and work was brilliant, and work has been really busy, kids, other issues that have come in, I've had sick pets, and just everything seems to have been thrown at me. But I'm back, I'm here now, and I am ready to talk. And I want to give a shout out to people that have reached out to me. Really appreciate your feedback, really appreciate your honesty. Listen, I think the start of 2023 has been tough for a hell of a lot of people, and I know from speaking to people how tough it's been for them, and the journeys that these people are on, and how hard it is. Just keep going, you know what I mean? I said it before and I say it again, you just got to keep swimming, you just got to keep finding that reason to get up in the morning, finding the reason to continue to do what you do, you know what I mean? And I know it's going to be tough, and I know it's going to be hard, and I know for a lot of people, you're looking at the barrel of the gun and you're thinking, is this going to be the day? Is this going to be when it's going to get me? And you need to understand, and you need to remember that there's always someone out there for you, be it a silly fat man sitting in a shed, be it friends, be it family, be it just some random person who you start having a conversation with. There's always going to be someone who will be able to have a conversation with you. And that leads me nicely on to where I want to go on the podcast today. And it's very much centered around myself and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And obviously the theme today is why talking works. Why does talking work for me? As I said when I started this journey, my job, I spoke, but I didn't speak about what I wanted to speak about. And ever since I've had this platform to speak to you guys, to speak to a camera screen, to speak into this microphone, whether one person listens or whether 100 people listen, it's been really therapeutic for me. I mean, I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned that I could do better in certain aspects of it, and I think that ability to take a breath, to take a moment to actually think about the reaction I'm going to have to a conversation that I'm in, or a situation that I've been put in, by sitting down and actually talking about it rather than losing my temper and going off on it, I think it's really, really helped me. And this is where it comes from here. As I said earlier, this year has been a strange, really complicated and depression year. I think that the really cold, damp, horrible January that we had didn't help. Whether you have that, I think it's called sad disease, where you miss the sunshine or whatever. But fundamentally, I think there's a lot of us have actually not enjoyed the start to the year, and that's fine. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to not to enjoy something. You know what I mean? No one's putting a gun to your head and saying you got to enjoy every minute, because that's fake. That's not real. And I guess I can only talk about the positive impact that talking has actually had for me. I feel less stressed. I feel happier. I feel that I can share my views. I can have real conversations with people without thinking about something else. I can be open and honest and transparent in the way that I'm feeling, and I haven't felt like that in a long time. And I've gone through crazy journeys in my life, and I've been low, I've been high. But I can honestly say that at this moment in time, touch wood, touch every single piece of wood, that I'm in a really comfortable place, and there's stuff going on. There's lots going on that could easily bring me down. You know what I mean? Could easily drag me back into that hole. But I think having you guys listening to me and having this platform to have a voice has really opened me up to how many people are actually struggling out there. And I was stopped this weekend by a guy who I've known, and he said, "Oh, somebody recommended your podcast to me, and I listened to the first episode, and I listened to the second episode, and then the third episode, you hit me with it, and I realised that I've got not issues, and I haven't got, you know what I mean. I'm not gonna dovetail people into issues, or saying that you got depression, or saying that you got this, but sometimes life is just tough, man. Sometimes life is just rubbish, and I go back to what I was saying about finding that happiness in doing what we're doing, and stuff like that. But for me, it was brilliant that I had these people reaching out, and I had people who were willing to be open and honest with me about their issues, and about what was going on in their life, and about how listening to me talking and opening up, and having this platform, having this voice, and being brave to say I've suffered with depression. I know that I'm overweight and obese, you know what I mean, and I know that I've been very selfish in some of the decisions that I've made in my family, you know what I mean, and I do know that I've been really selfish. Me changing jobs and not being here at 5:30 to help Tracy with the kids and stuff like that because I'm on a train coming back from Croydon, I know how entirely selfish that actually is. Yet I am now big enough and ugly enough to take it on the chin when I know that I've done something wrong, where I know that my actions have actually had a negative impact. And I think when in the cold light of day, I've been able to be honest with myself and Tracy to say that I've needed to change, and I've needed to do something for me, and I know the impact that it's going to have, but I need to go on this journey. And she's been brilliant, as per you all know, that my love, admiration, respect for my wife is unreal. When my mum was alive, I didn't think anybody would ever come close to being put on that pedestal of what an amazing woman. My mum was amazing. She was an angel. She was sent from somewhere to bring up 4 crazy kids, and I miss her every day, and I hate the fact that, as I've said, I hate the fact that she's never met my kids. I hate the fact that she's never told stories about me as a little nipper to Daniel, Luke and Grace, and she's never had them conversations with Tracy, and that breaks my heart. But Tracy, with everything that she does and putting up with me, Jesus Christ, I can't even stand myself most of the time. So the fact that she puts up with me is again unbelievable. But everything that she does it in the same way that my mum used to do it. Kids first, 100%, which I get and I appreciate and I love, because it just means so much to me that I love my kids more than anything in the world. But there's this beautiful woman in my wife who loves them even more, and probably would step over me to save them, and fair play. I wouldn't. I'd step over the kids to get the Tracy, but that's because I'll be able to carry all 4 of them because I'm hench. But I'm lucky enough that Tracy and I have gone through the ups and the downs, and we still have it. You know, we still have these moments where I'll get it in the neck for being an idiot, 100%, because 97% of the time it is me being an idiot that causes the arguments and stuff like that. And they're not arguments anymore, they're just a little bit louder conversations. And And I think you need to accept, as people, when you've messed up, you need to accept that you haven't quite done what you need to do to get to that end journey. And I am coming back round to the whole conversation today. But she's been with me through thick and thin. She has seen the best of me and she has seen the worst of me. And I'm hoping now that because I can talk and because I've found a voice, my voice, she's going to see the very best of me. I mean, she's going to see me working harder. She's going to see me being the best that I can be. Not just as a husband and not just as a father, because I try every single day to be the best husband and father to my kids and my wife. But the best Kirk Ritchie. And by talking, by having this platform, by having this vehicle out there, I find that I'm slowly becoming a better me, and I'm slowly becoming I don't know, complete's the wrong word, because I'm not complete, because I know that I've got a big weight problem, and I know that I need to start investing the right time in me becoming a happier me, a healthier me, the best me. I don't care. I just want to find me, and if that means being open and honest with you lot about how I eat, what I eat, why I do it, if that's what I need to have that trigger in my head, then I'm all for it. I'm all for having them conversations. Listen, I know that I can lose weight, but I know that I need to change my diet, and I need to change the way that I think about food, because we had some bad news this week about one of the cats, and I turned to food. We had some good news about the cat, and I turned to food and celebration. We had the birthday of my beautiful baby twins. We went out for a big slap up meal with my brother. Matt came out, and Wendy Woo and Nan, and it was brilliant, and we created memories. But everything that I seem to do is based around food, and I know that I need to change my relationship with food, and hopefully talking about and being open and honest and brutal, it showcases to everyone actually that I can be and I can show you that, but by being brutally honest to total strangers, to a little screen that I'm looking at now, that it's a step in the right direction to try and form a plan to get there. Because no matter what you're going through, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's torture in your mind, whether it's weight problems, whether it's a beauty thing, by talking about it and following a process and getting good people around you who understand you and understand the journey that you're on, I don't see that as a bad thing, and I see that as a thing that I think we all need to start recognising. And this goes, and the reason why this to me is quite important is that I was listening to my high performance podcast, which I absolutely love and absolutely adore, and what Damien Hughes and Jake Humphries have developed there is unbelievable, and the random people that they get on there is just staggering, because they get these people to open up. They get these people somehow by asking these questions. They get them to be honest about the journey that they've been on, and they had a brilliant gentleman on there a while ago, because I'm playing catch up, and he basically set up this website called Jack. Just ask any question. JAAQ. He suffered with a disorder, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically, he thought that if he had his hair cut like this and he noticed that there's a bit of a wisp on his hair, he wouldn't think he would not be able to forget about that. You know what I mean? If he if he was out one day and his shirt was rippled and stuff like that, he'd think that his body had a body disorder, and it's something body disorder, and I can't remember, and it's doing my head in, and I will find it. But so he set up this. First of all, he set up war paint, the male makeup, because when he was younger, his sister, I think it was, gave him some concealer to cover up some spots, and then he set up war paint and realised that there's a bigger issue there, and there's more out there to help people with. So basically, he set up this website called Jack. Just ask any questions, and what it's done, it's jack.org, JAAQ.org, and what it's done, it's opened you up to real people that have gone and experts. And I'm just going to name a couple of names. You've got Molly McCann, UFC. I mean, she's talking about stuff. You've got Alistair Campbell, politician, talking about depression. Stephen Corker, ex-football player, talking about addiction. Dr. Samantha Wild talking about periods. And these people they're real people who have gone through it. They're real people who have understood the journeys that we're all on, and they are there to give us advice. And the reason why I'm singing and shouting about this, because this episode of the High Performance Podcast, this guy was brutally honest with absolutely everything. He was telling stories about what went on in his childhood that hurt him, nearly destroyed him, and so on and so forth. And he was brutally honest. And when was the last time that we were brutally honest about what we've done in our lives and the impact that people have had in our lives growing up? I go back to my dad walking out on my mum and the impact that had on me. My dad cheated on my mum, and I remember it as clear as day because I scrubbed all of his names out of the Christmas presents that year. And that's still a memory in my head, and that means in my head that I'm not going to do anything to jeopardise my relationship with my wife and my kids. Yes, I'm a massive flirt. Yes, I think women are the most beautiful creatures in my eyes that have been put on this earth, and they're stunning and they're great and they're brilliant. And if you are a beautiful woman, or you've got a beautiful soul, then I will be drawn to you, but I won't ever cross that line, because I don't want to jeopardise what I've got with my wife and my kids. And seeing my dad doing what he did, well, that just had the impact on me to say, do you know what, Kurt? Don't be an idiot. Don't do anything stupid. Don't risk losing what you've got. Now, if I wished that I had this website growing up, and I remember learning to shave from the Gillette adverts. Do you know what I mean? And I miss my dad, and I don't want my kids to ever go through that time of not having me around to lean on, to talk to discuss anything with. So Jack, again, this website just comes back and it covers everything from lifestyle, well-being, learning differences, because he's dyslexic. And again, I go back to that thing that I said about the schools teaching and educating people all the same way. Then we're not the same. You know what I mean? These dyslexic people, I go back to telling Daniel when we found out he was dyslexic about, that's not a barrier to stop you from being the best you can be, buddy. Just because you don't know, just because the way that the letters look to you on the page are completely different to someone else, you're going to be more creative. You know what I mean? You might be more driven. You might be a natural leader. You know what I mean? Look at these people that are dyslexic. Rio Ferdinand, brilliant football player, went off and launched Five and a digital magazine, and he's a bastion for mental health and stuff like that. Why can't you be? Dyslexia puts you in this bracket, but be better, be more. You know what I mean? Push yourself to be more. You know what I mean? Learning, as I say, learning differences, physical health. It's unbelievable, and I've fallen into this, and I don't know. Well, I've reached out to him, and he hasn't come back to me, which I bet is the same, because it's the same for everyone. But if you're struggling, reach out to someone, talk to someone, because trust me, trust somebody who knows that what is going on out there, you're not going to be alone. Okay, the guy's name who set up Warpaint and is the co-founder and CEO of Jack is a guy called Danny Gray. So listen to his podcast, reach out to him on social media. You know what I mean? Reach out to these people These experts, but also reach out to your friends, because he had a mate, and I want to say his mate was called Obi, but it's not. That's from Sons of Anarchy, but it's something like that. And he got him, he understood him, and he understood that if he knew that he needed 4 hours to get ready for a night out, his best mate was like, take your time. What's the rush? Take your time. Not putting the added pressure, not putting the added worry, the added stress, the added strain. His best mate was like, take your time, we'll be right. We all need people like that. And you might not know it, but you've got people like that. You've got people who will be your yin and the yang, will be the calming influence, will be the ones who pick you up when you're down, even if you don't know that you're down. But the big part of this is, don't be afraid to talk. Never be afraid to be open and honest and have a real conversation about it, because, mate, I guarantee you, your friends would much rather you talk to them and open up than read a letter that you've left because you've done something. So maybe be that difference, yeah? Maybe you be that difference. So rather than being that person, fuck me, that struck me up there, excuse my French. Maybe you be the difference that could save someone's life, and not have the regrets that you could have done something a bit different. Not having the regret that maybe if you would have reached out to them, they might not have taken that step. Don't be the one who reads the letter. Be the one who is on the other end of the phone. Be the one who understands what your friends are going through. We all need the yin and the yang, and we need that support. And I'm saying we as in somebody who goes through the journey and the battle every single day. So please, if you're going through a battle, if you're going through a journey, talk. Set up a podcast. Write your notes down. Don't be afraid to open up. Don't be afraid to cry. Never be afraid to say that you're failing and you need help. Never ever be afraid to tell anybody that you love them. Just be a happy you. See if you can find the happy you. And I go back to it. I go back to what my mum used to say. Just be nice to each other. That's all we're asking in this world, just to be nice to each other. So check out jack.org, jaaq.org. I mean, reach out to Danny Gray, reach out to all the people that are on there. They're doing amazing things, and reach out to Jake Humphreys, and listen to his podcast as well, because his podcast is one of the most thought-provoking podcasts that I listen to. Yeah, so thanks a lot. I want to reach out to anybody who wants to come on this podcast and want to share their journey, want to share their thoughts, want to share their passions, because as much as I love talking to you, and I do love this, because it's therapy for me, I know that you guys have got your own stories and your own journeys and your own paths, and hopefully we can use this podcast, The Man in the Shed, to help you along your way. So it's time for me to say adieu. It's time for me to say goodbye. It's time for me to say bonjour, as Derek Trotter would say. So my name is Kirk Ritchie. Thanks for listening, and I am a man in the shed. See you later. Bye bye.